We are here in sunny Savannah, which is a different environment for us Ohio kids.
Yep.
And we are here at SFMA 2022 with Andrew Northeim. Say it right?
Yes, you did.
Perfect. He's with the Columbus crew, and he's going to walk us through their recent rebuild, renovation, training facility, a lot of different components that went into it. So we'll start there. Just kind of let us know where it started and where you guys are today.
Yeah, so in 2021, well, starting in 2020, we started construction on a brand new training facility that is currently next to our old stadium as we were building a new stadium as well. That new training facility is 350,000 square feet of natural grass, 3.5 fields, as I tell everybody. One of our training fields matches technology-wise with our downtown new stadium. We have sub-air, hydronic heating, irrigation, all that. Then a second field only has sub-air on it, and then the rest, the field and a half has irrigation and drainage, normal stuff. So that we sodded those fields in around Thanksgiving of 2020.
Okay.
And we kind of just let it root all winter long. We just let it do its thing. And then the team didn't actually move over to the new training facility until June. I think it was June 1st of 2021.
Okay.
So we actually had some time in the springtime to get the fields ready for them.
Did that leave you guys managing 2 stadiums and a training facility at any point?
So we were actually at one point, we were managing 2 stadiums and 2 training facilities.
How convenient.
Yes, with 4 full-time staff. So we were a little hectic, I would say, across all facilities. I think we had at one point 8.5 natural grass fields for 4, so everybody got at least 2 fields to manage. So
Incredible.
Yes.
So you mentioned 4 full-time staffers.
Yep.
Okay. And where are you guys at today? What are we working with today with those 4?
We're still at 4 full-time. We're actually in the process of hiring a 5th time.
Perfect.
And it kind of stunk when we were going through these build processes. That was during COVID, so we couldn't actually have interns, which would have been great.
Huge.
Yeah, help. Luckily, last year we were able to get our interns back. So 2021, we had a good crop of 2 to 3 interns that helped us out tremendously. Once we transitioned into the new stadium and new training facility, we still had to take care of our old training facility, but at that time, when we moved into the new stadium, our old stadium went into artificial turf. So that was another construction process that just finished up here this winter. So
not only managing the day-to-day best practices of a sports field manager, but also kind of dealing with the construction process, hopefully having that open line of communication with the people, leading the construction project. What did that really look like as far as your capacity to get your normal work done and then also make sure that things were being done with grounds in mind?
yeah, luckily I would say from the beginning we've had a good lead. Our guy, we're owned by the Browns and us. We're under the same ownership group, and Phil Dangerfield kind of led our team in building of the stadium and building of the training facility, and he's had, I would say, our back this whole time. So we've kind of been in there, and if we saw any issues that we came about, he was very good at hearing our issues, and it ultimately came down to was it worth it, return on investment, money-wise, to do it now or wait till down the road. So I would say during the whole process, any little changes, like our irrigation layout was not, I would say they wanted to run it one way, we preferred it the other way, and they were like, okay, we can do that. So
wow. So one of the major obstacles already kind of overcome with that support from the owner. So what would you say, if maybe somebody doesn't have that initial support, how they could really advocate for themselves as a sports field manager?
Yeah, I think you just have to prove to the people who are making those decisions why this needs to be done, and maybe show examples of other teams or other facilities around league, different leagues, or your own league, why this is a good example of best practices.
A necessity.
Yep.
And I think that's a huge point is always looking to what else is going on in the industry success instead of coming in. You want to be as prepared as possible when you're leading those kind of conversations, just because tension can obviously arise when money of that extreme is involved.
I would say that's one of the harder parts is like us not necessarily having the final say, but as long as you're proving to ownership or whoever's making those decisions why these need to be a priority, I think they will fully understand.
What are some things that you came across throughout the process that you were like, oh, I had no idea this was going to come into play? Or like maybe some misconceptions that people might have about, what a rebuild or a construction process like this would look like?
Misconceptions, I would say, like where we started from, our architect, he had done this before, so he had, I would say, his way of doing it, even though we wanted it done a certain way. So that was, I would say, like irrigation-wise, was our biggest challenge of getting it changed of what, and we had certain reasons why we wanted to do this. But he had just done it a different way, and we just had to prove to him or show him why we wanted it done that way.
Definitely.
I would say it was a little tough for us to building a new training facility at our old stadium. We had some storage areas of equipment, but we also, I don't think people realize that how convenient it would be to have a smaller storage area for equipment on site versus trying to trek all the way across our old stadium into our new facility.
Yeah.
So that was one of my biggest pushing points. And like I said before, like they supported us once we told them why. Like we weren't asking for a huge facility for our equipment and stuff like that, but we just needed something small for our everyday that we're going to be walking right out to the fields on, stuff like that.
And with every field I've seen pop up or a rebuild or renovation, then you immediately see an events calendar come into play.
Yep.
So how is that really going to play into this new role, this new facility, and is that something that the crew is ready to take on?
Yeah, I would say we have another good leader in the scheduling of events, and it's like you said, a little difficult moving into adding we actually added a minor league team or a developmental team to our schedule, along with our 4 academy teams. And then where our site is, it's a little special. It's a special site because it's got the old stadium, which will have it's a multi-use facility now, as we would say, because we host concerts there.
Perfect.
Other sporting events, lacrosse, football. So it's a challenge, but it's a good challenge to be able to look at that schedule and be like, okay, we're going to be busy. Like more or less, we're going to be busy. But they've been very supportive of us and what we need, especially going into this first full season of the new training facility, of telling us like, okay, just let us know when we need to do some shutdowns of some fields to recover and do the major maintenance of our work. So.
And Nick Pappas joined us to talk about field conversions yesterday, but he really talked about that communication, obviously with the higher ups, but anybody coming on board, like, hey, we are going to be busy. It might be holidays, it might be weekends, and if this isn't for you, that's okay. But starting off with that open line of communication and those expectations can be really helpful as we kind of see events become such a larger role in a sports field manager's repertoire. So
and that's what I would say now that I'm in this role of kind of managing 3.5 grass fields, but then also an artificial multi-use facility. It's very different, but it's very different in a good way. It's eye-opening of seeing how to manage this versus this and balancing all those things together. So.
And hopefully rewarding at the end of the day.
Yes.
Well, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. And hopefully anybody that is in Ohio, hopefully in the summertime, gets a chance to come check everything out.
Yes, definitely do.
Thank you.
Thank you.